What's up, you guys? This is Nugget with Nugget Speaks. I've been writing and posting a story almost every week about my life and the lessons that I can pull out of them. And this one is called How Sunday Nights at Tsunamis Changed My Life. I was 24 years old. My mortgage had jumped over $1,000 a month overnight. I had no backup plan, no job, and the guy who ended up changing my life ran a pub crawl and owned a bar called Tsunamis. That season taught me more about mentorship, survival, and building skills that actually pay than anything else in my 20s. I had just gotten out of the military. I didn't want to leave Hawaii. Going back to where I grew up in Florida felt like failure to me, so I stayed. I had bought a condo when I was young, too young. I had gotten an 80/20 loan with an adjustable rate mortgage, and I did not even understand what that meant. Within months of getting out, my payment jumped literally by $1,000 a month. This was 20 years ago. That was a lot of money for a 24-year-old with no job. I wasn't like ashamed. I was just in the middle of it and I needed to figure it out. So I did what I had to do. I rented out both of the bedrooms. I rented them out. I'm living there. I rented out my couch, and my best friend Pure and I lived on the balcony. It sounds crazy now, but at the time it was survival. That was when Randy G stepped in. He ran a pub crawl in Waikiki, and he was a little bit older than me. Not like a corporate mentor, not a military leadership, just a real person who saw something in me, and he could tell that I was stressed. Instead of giving me a lecture, he took me to Sandy Beach. He got me out of Waikiki, and we got destroyed by the waves for like hours. I I mean really like thrown around, and on the way back into town, he said something simple. They're not going to take your condo tomorrow. Relax. Let's build something. He took me to a spot in Hawaii and made me an offer. Sunday nights at Tsunamis, service industry night, half the door if I packed the place. And he would get the DJ, he would get a keg, and we would do 50-cent beers until they ran out and dollar jello shots. I had already been going out on Tuesday with my friend Tommy McKinley and his band Liquid Courage, and I would watch how he promoted for his band. I had seen how energy filled rooms. I had seen what happened when I actually went and talked to people. If I promoted, it was busy. And if I didn't, it wasn't. And Randy saw that too. He taught me how to mass text on a flip phone with 10 people at a time. He taught me how to make flyers on an old floppy disk computer, those like 3.5-inch A discs or whatever they called them, and print them on colored paper just to try and make them look cooler. He brought me on the pub crawl and taught me how to hold a microphone and control a room. He gave me Sunday nights, and I ran with it. Before long, I was promoting 5 nights a week, working with bigger promoters on the radio, building real momentum. My life accelerated, and it all started because someone saw raw talent in me and gave me a shot when I needed it most. All right, so looking back, that season taught me 5 lessons that still shape how I operate today. Change your environment before you try to solve the problem. I thought I needed like a financial solution, and what I really needed first was that experience at Sandy Beach. I needed to calm down and get out of it for a minute, remove myself from the situation. And I realized that clarity came after my nervous system settled down. The second lesson was that mentors do not always look official. Up until that point, Randy was not a corporate coach, he was not a boss, he's not a guru. He was just a guy that had more experience than me, and he saw something in me and gave me an opportunity. And sometimes mentorship is recognition before the instruction. He really took me under his wing and showed me the way. He didn't have to do that. The third lesson is that survival builds transferable skills. So mass texting, flyer design, MC work, promoting, room control. At that time in my life, it was survival. And then later, I realized that it was sales, it was marketing and communication training in disguise. The fourth lesson I got out of this was that hunger can make you dangerous. I was not comfortable. I wasn't secure at that point in my life. I was motivated. When somebody gave me Sunday nights to go do what I would have done anyway, I didn't treat it casually. I treated it like everything that I had depended on it. Because at that point, it did. And the fifth lesson that I got out of this was that you can really prosper from your passions if you're willing to master them. I realized reviewing this story that this idea that I've always had about prospering from your passions stemmed from this moment when the first time that I proved to myself that this was a real thing, that you could, as my dad always said, if you love what you do, you never worked a day in your life. And I truly loved partying and being part of this scene at this point in my life. Now this day today, I have 13 years with no alcohol, and I really hardly ever go into bars. But at that point, I was really good at it, and I loved it. I loved the energy. I loved people. I loved being able to control a room. That was the first time I realized that you could build income around something that felt natural to you. And that idea has never left me. So if you want the full written story and breakdown, comment Tsunami or grab it at nuggetspeaks.com. And if someone ever gave you your first real shot, why don't you let them know? Aloha. This is Nugget with Nugget Speaks. Aloha.